Can I be so honest? Can I be so honest? This is... This is literally what is getting me through it. Can I be so honest? This is literally getting me through it. Hi. Welcome back to Ace Attorney Apollo Justice Trilogy. Specifically AA4. Specifically Turnabout Serenade. Yahoo! Yippee! Last time we started the investigation, Romaine Letousse died. Lamiroise's manager. And if you're wondering who that is, well, she was the musical act that worked with Clavier's band at their concert. She seems interesting. But she is not the one convicted of murder. It is Machi Tobaye, her pianist. We also got a little bit of a glimpse into Clavier's real personality and the persona that he puts on, as well as his bandmate Darian, who is a detective and the other guitarist in the band. People don't like this case. To that I say, where is your whimsy? It's not that bad. My god. Calm down. Yeah, I'm excited to get into this more again. I have had a rough week. Body no work. But that's okay. Because it will work enough to do this. At least it had better. If it doesn't, that's gonna be a problem. But I think we're gonna be fine. Alright. Yosh. Oh, we're just jumping right into it, eh? No pre-court nonsense? I guess that makes sense. We can't communicate with Machi because he doesn't speak English, apparently.
Court is now in session for... How do I say that?
Hi, Clavier. Hi, oh my god. I missed you. It's been like 4 days. Hey guys. I'm really normal about this character, don't worry about it. I've just had a rough week, okay? It's just nice to see your Blorbo at the end of a long week, okay? I'm not even faking it. I like literally have tears in my eyes. It's fine. I need a moment. I can cry later, it's fine. I need to like Fraulein. Ja. Ja, also nein. Machi Tobaye, Your Honor. The pixie of the arpeggio.
Right, his trial. Court is in session.
The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is A-okay, Herr Judge.
Very well, Prosecutor Gavin.
Yeah, my opening statement, yeah.
No, actually, there was something else I wanted to ask you about.
Yes?
Say you're going to visit someone in the hospital with an incurable disease.
Jesus Christ. I forgot he says this.
What do you say to them?
What?
I mean, you wouldn't say get well soon, right? You'd only be kicking them when they are down.
What are you talking? What is bro yapping about? What are you talking about?
Actually, I'm going to visit someone who is terminally ill. Right after this trial, the Chief Justice's son.
The Chief Justice?
His son is afflicted with the most terrible disease. He doesn't have long, it seems. so that I'd go pay him a visit. I thought saying something moving might be the order of the day.
Why don't grown-ups just ever say what's on their mind instead of pretending? Trucy! Trucy! God, I fucking wish, girl. You know how much easier that'd make my life? She's looking at me with something like disgust. Hey, what are you looking at me like that for? She's like, I know what you are.
In any case, I'm a bit busy today, so let's wrap this up quickly. Prosecutor Gavin, your opening statement, briefly.
You're in luck, Herr Judge. I believe you'll be going on your hospital visit sooner than you think. First, to review the victim in this case, Romain Letus, age 35. The global manager for diva songstress La Miroir. The cause of death, blood loss due to being shot by a large caliber revolver. This report has all the details.
The court accepts this into evidence.
Okay. I mean, we heard the shot. Don't we have a more accurate time of death? Maybe we can calculate it later. Time elapsed between shooting and death currently under review. I see. Okay.
45 caliber. That's quite large, isn't it? A direct hit from that could knock a man off his feet.
Yes, it kind of did.
How?
However, the bullet struck him in the shoulder. The damage to the body was slight. Death was not immediate. Sadly, his blood loss was such that he could not be saved.
I suppose the victim's condition could have been much worse, considering.
2 shots were fired. One shot missed, the other shot penetrated and passed through the victim's shoulder. Do you have to use that word? Both bullets were found in the wall of the scene. Observe the diagram. This is where the bullets hit.
I see. The court accepts this evidence.
Okay, we saw this.
If we're talking about a 45 caliber revolt, whatever,
we must assume... I don't do guns.
We must assume that the killer was adept at the weapon's use.
Really? Yeah, apparently weapons that size have a powerful kickback. If, say, the judge tried to fire one, it'd break every bone in his body.
The defense will take more care in choosing examples.
As I was saying, the victim was shot backstage in a dressing room. This dressing room has only one entrance, this door.
That does seem to be the case, yes.
However, there were witnesses who heard the gunshots. He's talking about you and Emma, huh? Yet when the witnesses entered the room, it was empty, save for the victim's body, of course.
But that's impossible.
Exactly. This murder was impossible. It's just a Nancy Drew locked room case, guys. Come on. None of you guys drew it up? For all but one person.
One person?
That is, of course, the defendant, Machi Tobaye.
Only this defendant could have committed the crime. But how?
It's quite simple. The circumstances of the crime scene make it clear.
Very well, I assume you have testimony to back up this claim. Please show the witness to the stand.
I assume it's gonna be Emma first, right?
Yeah.
Hey girl, your name and profession, please? Emma Sky. I'm a detective for the police department. I was on security detail at the concert forum that night. Emma seems tired somehow. Apollo, she's always... You guys are the most tired people in the whole series. Hi, Ivy. Apollo, you, Emma, and Clavier are like the most tired people in the whole series. Be so real.
Security at the concert, you say?
Some security I was. Couldn't even stop a murder.
Now don't blame yourself. Things like this happen. I've made an even bigger mistakes in my career, you know.
I'm sure that makes her feel much better. This case is so funny because Clavier is being a diva because this concert going wrong and Apollo's just like, Prosecutor Gavin, there's a murder going on. Yeah. I love it though. I love the contrast of like his perfectionist nature versus his like teehee. Hi Maddie! How could she not be tired, Polly? For real. She's so real.
I want to hear about these bigger mistakes. Was it disbarring my dad?
She blinks rapidly at the judge. No, it wasn't his decision to make that. In any case, because you were on security detail, the crime was quickly discovered. And we were able to identify the killer. Yeah, and it ruined my concert. You may give the court your testimony if you would. Describe the circumstances of that day, and your discovery of the crime, please. Yeah, get home safe. I feel like Clavier's voice is easier for me to do today. I don't know if that's because I started out the stream in tears over him or what. Like the mucus is in the right place or what. Alright. The night of the murder, I was on security backstage, at Prosecutor Gavin's request. Only people involved in the concert in some way were allowed backstage. At the beginning of the third set, I heard shots. Great song, by the way. I went into the room filled with blaring rock music and found the body. I examined the scene and determined that only the defendant could have done it. Poor boy's just mad his attempt at flirting with Polly by inviting him to his concert went horribly wrong. It's true. Unfortunately, it's true. It also went wrong because Apollo was like, it's too loud, I'm going backstage during the Gaviner parts, and he's like, and then everything else goes wrong too. At least they got to hang out more. So true.
Was lucky that a detective was the first on the scene.
But that door was the only way out of the room, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Then I don't get it. How can they say that Machi did it?
Looks like we need a bit more information. This is a date, right? This is a date?
Polly! You fucking idiot!
Very well, the defense may begin the cross-examination.
I don't know, you just don't make people pay 80% of a ticket price for a fucking date, okay? I just love the idea of them arguing in the middle of the court case about whether or not this was a date. And Clavier is like, I didn't pay for the full tickets because I thought it would hurt your pride. I just wanted you to come. The night of the murder was the night of the concert, yes? That's right. What was a detective doing on security detail, might I ask? If it was only a concert. My thoughts exactly. But orders are orders, even if when they come from rock gods. This is interesting, too, that he put her on security detail. Put a pin in that. Prosecutor Gavin? Love this B-plot, not gonna lie. Thanks. Yes, allow me to explain. I smelled something that day, you might say. The stench of conspiracy. That day at the concert hall. Conspiracy? Well, isn't it obvious? My keys! That whole morning. No, the whole day was ruined. And it's all because someone stole my keys. I couldn't ride my hog to the show, I couldn't open my guitar case.
There he goes again.
Isn't it possible he simply misplaced them?
Misplaced them?
Misplaced items don't just wander into a murder victim's hands on their own.
What's this? Prosecutor Gavin, if your keys were in the victim's hand, that makes you a prime suspect.
This was the moment I was like, he's the best. That moment where the judge is like, you're a suspect, and his response is to shred an air guitar solo. It's like the funniest thing that they could have chosen to make him do in that moment. I'm gonna cry again. Oh my god. Okay. It's fine. I love this guy. Love, slow acting and new. A troconine is waiting for you.
He's singing something.
Oh, was he? Does everything with this guy have to be so over the top? And Maddie, you literally were like, he's so extra, I love him. Perfect. The killing happened in the middle of my concert. I was like a sailor, adrift on a sea of sound. Anyway, I didn't want anything else stolen. So I put the detective with the most time on their hands on the task.
I see, I can accept that.
Well, I can't. What do you mean, time on their hands?
Please, the testimony.
God, I love Claudia so much, guys. We were let in, though.
I didn't know about that. I don't know.
It just became that automatically.
I certainly didn't invite you.
I gave the Fraulein special permission to be there. I wanted to see her again.
Oh boy, did you hear that? We're officially involved now.
Gee, great.
Some other hangers-on tried to get backstage, but I drove them off.
So no other outsiders were there then.
And then...
I love the idea of, like, Clavier and Trucy, like, having this bit of them being like, oh, haha, we're involved, and Apollo getting angrier and angrier for reasons he doesn't understand. And, and Clavier's like, I don't know, maybe we should stop, like, it's hurting his feelings, and Trucy's like, no, it's a bit, and he needs to suffer. I believe we were having a chat when we heard the shots.
You were the one chatting. I was eating snackoos.
Ah, hey, no snacking in court.
And you're sure the shots came from La Miroir's room? Yes, absolutely.
Hey, I'm the one being cross-examined here. Here, this'll keep you quiet.
Thanks. So, how about it, Emma? The way he's also eating them.
We were right. They're hard to be mistaken about that.
Please, either talk or eat, not both at the same time.
Right. So after that, me and Mr. Lawyer there opened up the dressing room door.
Rock?
Blaring, yes.
When you say rock, are you referring perhaps to this rock and roll music that's so popular these days?
Where have you been? That's right, when we went into the dressing room. Music was blaring over the speaker on the wall. Every time the song starts up, I have to glance at my phone because I do have that song as my ringtone. So it's like, huh.
A pipe sound from the stage into the backstage through the speakers. That way people in the back can hear when they're supposed to be on stage.
Did it have to be so loud?
You don't listen to the governors with your ears.
You feel it with your entire body and soul. I always have the backstage monitors at full volume.
When we walked into the room, the band was playing Guilty Love, I believe, making it easy to determine the time of the crime.
If you could hear that music playing.
And everyone on stage for that song has an alibi, including myself.
Anyway, I closed off the scene and started my investigation.
How could you know something like that?
As I said, it was clear from the circumstances. Listen, we know there was only one exit from the room, that door. The small window only opened a tiny crack, and I was standing in front of that door. So how could the killer have fled the scene? There's only one possibility, the air vent.
Ah!
But that air vent was too small. Who could possibly?
Exactly. There's certainly no way you could get through, nor me. The only one who could fit through was a child.
A child. A child.
Remember, access to those rooms was limited. Only those involved with the concert were allowed. And of all the people involved with the concert, only one is small enough to be considered a child.
The defendant.
The pixie of the arpeggio flitted up toward the sky and disappeared from the scene of the crime. But that's just conjecture. Oh, there was no other way out of that room. You were there. You should know, Herr Forehead. And there is another vital piece of evidence. Evidence? What? Marks were found on the air vent grill. Traces that had recently been opened. Wow, been opened, sorry. Wait, what? And something else was found, quite clearly. The defendant, Machi Tobaye's fingerprints. What?
Order! Order! Order!
That air vent was the only way out of the room. The defendant's fingerprints were found on the grill. Well, Herr Forehead, what fairy tale does this suggest to you? Only one could pass through that vent, that doorway to heaven. And that one is our pixie.
Why are you looking at me, Apollo? Hey, I was out whooping it up in the audience!
So this was his decisive evidence.
Quite decisive indeed. I believe that's enough of that. The prosecution has a rather convincing case. Only way in and out of the crime scene was watched, making the defendant the only one who could possibly leave the scene. Simple and decisive.
Or, you could say simple and clean, Your Honor. Yeah. Ugh.
I believe we've heard enough to determine our verdict. Even if I wasn't in a hurry to make a hospital visit.
I'm sure the Chief Justice will appreciate the gesture. Unfortunately, we have no direct witnesses. Fortunately, the criminal left decisive evidence for us. Hi, Nim. That will have to be enough. Ugh. It can't be over already.
Very well, I believe this trial is finished. If the defense has no contradicting evidence.
The prosecution has presented our proof, clear and plain. You could say simple and clean. If you have contradicting evidence, better be clear and plain. Apollo! They've got us on the ropes already! We better come up with something quick! I know! Think, what can get us out of this? A kiss? We need evidence or a witness that can prove Machi is innocent beyond a doubt. Without that...
Mr. Justice, do you have contradicting proof that can overturn the prosecution's case?
Okay. So, like, what I'm thinking is the fact that the victim told us about, like, the siren is somehow going to be... There's a couple ways around this. Because, like, okay. I don't know if they tried to bring up the fact that, like, the crime seems to be planned around these lyrics. And if that is the case, like, Machi can't read those lyrics, so he wouldn't have been able to reference them because he's blind. There's also the fact that one of these shots had to have been taken from a different angle than where the body is right now, if not both shots, because of how they are in the wall. And then he's like, he was holding something, right? And then there's fucking smeared, that looks like a smeared message. Okay.
If you do, you'd better tell us about it now.
This is it. And so soon. If I mess this one up, it's over. It's all over. The court wants to contradicting proof? I want to call a witness. Prosecutor Gavin, you claim that there were no witnesses to this crime. Are you absolutely sure? Absolutely. I'd swear it on my career as a prosecutor. And on my million-seller hit song, I hate this word, a troconine my love. There he goes again! That's too bad, because there was a witness.
Oh, really now? But how did you come to possess knowledge the prosecution clearly does not?
Because I am the only one in the world who knows this. What's going on? I just talked to him and now... Whoa. He's alive! Mr. Latouche, can you hear me? Cold. So cold. Witness. You're cold? Don't worry, you're going to be fine. Help is on the way. Can't see. Hang in there, Mr. Latouche. Tell me, who was the witness? Witness is... Siren.
What? The victim said this before he died.
Perhaps he did, and perhaps he did not. What do you mean by that? All we know is what Herr Forehead says he said. It's no testimony, especially since it comes from the defense attorney himself. But it's the truth! He said it! I even told you about it. But apparently you ignored me completely. It's my policy to fully investigate everything I deem relevant. Clearly this rookie lawyer thinks he can tell me how to do my job. Well, I beat you last time, so I think I can. Just a little.
That's enough. The girls are fighting. Mr. Justice, we need clear contradictory proof from you. This witness of yours is unknown to the prosecution. I hope you're right. Failure carries a stiff penalty.
Perhaps. A stiffer penalty than usual is called for. There's no backing out now.
Let's hear the name of your witness, Mr. Justice.
Ugh. Was Latouche animated in the original? I don't remember him blinking. I don't either. So it may be newly added. But I wasn't thinking too hard about it at the time. I was too busy looking at the smeared words.
La miroir.
Recall Mr. Latouche's last words. And they're showing it again. God, oh my god. Okay, we know. Siren.
The siren. Aha, he meant the siren.
That's right. The siren of the ballad. La miroir. La miroir was only on stage for the second set. And she had access to the backstage area. She could have been a witness.
I see. Well, Prosecutor Gavin.
My claim still stands. There was no witness to this crime.
Very well. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth then, shall we? We will now take a break from Detective Emma Sky's cross-examination. Please show La miroir to the witness stand.
La miroir would say nothing the night of the murder. Not today, though. Today we'll drag that story out of her no matter what it is. Makes it so much more upsetting than a still picture. Yeah, I mean, it's, I guess, supposed to be. The girls are really fighting right now. It is my distinct honor to welcome the siren of the ballad to our courtroom. You are too kind.
You can speak English?
Yes, I can. Though I am not very good. There is much I do not know.
You speak so well. Have you spent time here before?
Actually, I do not know how I came by my knowledge of your language, nor where I studied it.
What does she mean? She doesn't know. Whatever. I too thought to call her as a witness, but I did not. I had a reason, of course. What's that? La miroir suffers from amnesia.
Amnesia.
La miroir is not my true name, yet I remember nothing of the time before I was given it. Nothing of the time before I started singing on stage.
Whoa! She's even more mysterious than I thought! As lauded singer La miroir, she lives a good life. There are little difficulties for her thanks to her success. Yet, I did not wish to subject her to unnecessary stress.
I see. I care surprisingly little about people's pasts. You have nothing to fear in this court, La miroir.
I have to constantly remind myself that they're originally speaking Japanese. Yeah.
Thank you. Yet there is something I do not understand. I am being called as a witness? What might I say? No one will tell me anything of what happened.
Lamiwa, let me be frank. I did not want to ask you up here to testify. Yet that young gentleman with the wide forehead over there was adamant that you stand.
Oh my!
Congratulations, Apollo! You're the bad guy!
Well, now that you're here, please give us your testimony. If nothing else, the sound of your voice is welcome. Tell us what you saw the night of the crime.
Yeah, she is crazy pretty.
As for what I saw nothing. That night I was invited to sing on stage, and this I did. I did not return backstage after the second set. Then I was led by the police to Mr. Gavin's dressing room and told to wait there.
But we have your brooch.
That was where I learned that something had happened, but I wasn't told the details.
I must say, you sound wonderful just testifying.
I hope he was too distracted to hear what she was actually saying. There you have it. She saw nothing that night. Now we can only pray that the defense has the sense to admit defeat. And refrain from detaining her here longer than need be. Wow, you just got badder, Apollo. Way to go!
Very well, Mr. Justice. Keep it short and sweet.
Lamiwa wouldn't talk to me the night of the crime. She must know something, and I've got to find out what. But you must have seen something. Mr. Latouche named you.
Mr. Latouche? How can I tell you what I don't know?
Lamiwa, he said you were a witness with his dying words.
I do not know what he meant to say, but that night...
It was a great concert.
You heard me sing? Thank you.
I was hoping to get an autograph later, actually. Aw.
Of course.
Mr. Justice, this is a cross-examination. You're out of line. If anyone deserves an autograph here, it's me. On my gavel, one on my gavel would be nice.
Judge.
What's this?
It's my autograph. Now keep this trial moving.
What? Oh, my grandchild will be so happy.
Oh, apparently his grandson is a big fan. Let us continue, shall we? If you would, Lamiwa. Tell us what you did after your stellar performance. Sounds sus. You did not return backstage once? Where were you then? What were you doing?
I was cleaning up on stage. There are many things I must do for a performance other than simply sing.
And was Machi with you at the time?
Unfortunately, I do not know where he was.
So much for an alibi for Machi. With Machi, correct? How was he then?
He seemed as he always does, though I believe he was shocked by the news of Mr. Latouche's death. Yet, he is not the type to show much emotion.
Yes, he's given the police no end of headaches. He answers most questions with silence, and those glinting frames speak nothing. The questioning hasn't gotten very far.
We sat there, waiting.
How was the incident explained to you?
I was told nothing in detail, only that Mr. Latouche died.
Of course, investigations require some security.
But Mr. Latouche was my manager. I wanted to know more. I should have been told. Both Machi and I were beside ourselves with concern.
Allow me to apologize, but please understand. Keeping you in the dark was as painful for me as it was for you.
Yes, I understand.
Think, what doesn't ring true about her testimony?
It's hard to imagine Lamiwa lying.
She might not be lying, but she's hiding something. What wouldn't she tell me the night of the murder? Well, I think she actually just is lying, bestie. She was there. Oops. You were there. I'm sorry, Lamiwa, but I'm having trouble believing you. You remember this brooch, do you not? Why, that's Lamiwa's. She was wearing it for her song. Care to add that to the testimony, Prosecutor Gavin? What? This brooch was found after the murder took place. At the very scene of the crime. What? Lamiwa, how did your brooch get backstage if you did not go there yourself? And, as Prosecutor Gavin has just told us, you had been wearing it during your performance that night.
What is the meaning of this? Lamiwa, please explain.
Lamiwa.
また日本語で
She says English is quite difficult. That trick's not going to work here.
「確かに英語は難しいよね」
Creative. When you're translating something and you want to put your own spin on the creativity of it. Your forehead may be large, but you are a lawyer, truly. But you have missed one important fact. What now? In fact, at the time of the incident. Sorry, I was thinking about what he just said. I went backstage, but only for a moment. What?
すいません
Think back to the moment of the crime. You know whereof I speak. Is she really saying all that? What's she talking about, Apollo? Right when the incident occurred. Is she talking about that? Watch this room for me. I have to call back up. Right. Understood. You want me to make sure no one comes in, right? Mr. Latouche, can you hear me? Oh my god, again. So cold. So cold. Shh. I can't believe they show us this to us like 6 different times. Crazy. Yipes. Emma, what was that? Who's there? What's wrong? Emma, did you see anyone just now? Huh? No. I could have sworn I heard a door close.
I looked into the room. Just a glance, mind you.
So this is when you were. So this was when your brooch dropped. That explains that.
It does. There was no other time I could have dropped it.
But that's ridiculous. You only looked in for an instant, but you dropped your brooch? Half forehead. She has raised a possibility. The only thing that can counter that is evidence.
So she looked in at the crime scene.
Actually, I intended to go into the dressing room. I knew nothing of what had happened, of course. But the moment I opened the door, I heard a horrible voice.
Her forehead shouting, "Who's there?" No doubt. A horrible voice indeed. Ugh.
I closed the door immediately.
Well, that explains the brooch. Let's return to your testimony.
That's too convenient. She's hiding something. Lamiwar, you did look into the room though, right?
Yes,
Testify as to what you saw.
very well. Though it was only the briefest of glimpses.
What did you see in that brief glimpse?
I had only opened the door slightly when I heard that horrible voice.
And shut the door.
I've always wondered, Hair Forehead. Does that voice of yours lack a volume knob? It's my cords of steel, man. Just back off! Hey, man, you're harshing on my vibes, dude. He can't help it. He's just built different.
I saw nothing. The late Mr. Latusse's body was behind a wall.
A wall? Was there a wall there?
Kabe is what in English?
A division, or a partition, I believe. It was a large dressing room, divided into two halves. Oh, I see, it's got one of those, like, stretching walls. And the murder took place in the inside half. I guess that partition might have hidden the body. Let's try... here again. One more time. It may not be this one. Okay. Pass. Was it the next one then? I feel like it's gotta be in her face because her hands aren't visible. And that feels familiar to me. Okay, no, but it's not this one. I mean, you were on stage, so I guess this is all true too. Okay. I'm thinking. Sorry, I'm like, I forget I'm streaming. Let me look at the evidence. Is that behind the wall? Like, would we consider that from that angle? Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. Well, that's fine. We'll look again. How about that? I guess it could be, like, swallowing. Or breathing. Okay, no, I don't think it's anything here. If it is, I'm a stupido, but it's fine. Okay, it's about the angles. Okay, I guess she couldn't have seen the body at that point. I wish we had, like, the set times. Let me try this one again. Let me look at her throat in this one, and her chest, see if she's, like, swallowing or breathing funny. Oh! Oh! Gotcha! Haha! Okay, cool. Yeah, there's not a lot to look at with her. The late Mr. Latusse's body, you say?
Yes?
You know something more about Mr. Latusse's death than you're saying.
What?
I could see you trying not to remember, but the effort made you swallow. You can't fool my eyes.
It is true. It was so terrible after all. Why did Mr. Latousse have to be shot?
One moment, Lamour.
Yes?
What was that you just said? Why did Mr. Latousse have to be shot?
Yes?
She was hiding something, I knew it. Lamour, I'm afraid you haven't realized it, but your words just now contradict your testimony.
How could that be?
Take this. Lamiwar contradicted her own testimony, and I have the evidence to prove it. You couldn't have seen, right?
If I do not misunderstand the meaning of contradiction, it is you who contradict, Mr. Justice.
Huh?
Your evidence is meaningless.
Oh, okay, damn. Ugh, wrong evidence. Okay. Gotta think this over. What did she say again? Why did Mr. Latouche have to be shot? That's right. That totally contradicts her testimony. Okay. Then what is it? Oh, no one told you. No one should have told you. Right. I was thinking though, didn't we say something to her? But I don't remember. Gonna be so real, don't remember. Tell me, Lamiwa, how did you know he had been shot?
Well,
Immediately following the incident, a gag order was placed on the scene. This is the document proving that. In your testimony, you told the court. No one told me anything about the incident. Furthermore, you testified that you had seen nothing. Yet you knew that Mr. Latouche had been shot. How could you have known?
Lamiwar, you aren't hiding something from this court, I hope.
That sweet song of hers was sounding a little too sweet.
now I remember. Please allow me to add to my testimony.
Of course. All we want to know is the truth. She looks kind of pale, huh? She saw something, I know it. Even the victim said so. Saw bullet holes in the wall and knew Mr. Latouche had been shot. Only a glimpse, yet you knew they were bullet holes?
Yes, I recognized them immediately. I've seen bullet holes before, you know.
You have traveled the world as a singer. You must have sung in places far more dangerous than our country. Topical.
I go wherever my voice is needed. Those places are many these days.
That's really cool! I hope I get to travel like Lamiwar someday. I hope you can too. I plan on recording my next album overseas. Their studios have a different sound, you know. Maybe I should go on a Chords of Steel tour too. Okay. I think this is where the map maybe would get shown because you would have had to like step in and look. Yeah. Lamiwar, they call you the Siren of the Ballad. But lies are hardly becoming of such a creature.
A put-down worthy of our prosecutor, Mr. Justice.
Such put-downs are hardly becoming of you, Apollo.
I would go to your concert, Apollo. Yeah, seriously. I get VIP. Stop polishing your forehead and start polishing your character, yeah? Come on, can't I be cool for once? Observe the diagram. Lamiwar, you looked in from the door for just a moment. Correct?
Yes, that is so.
There were bullet holes in the room, yes. But they were in the wall the door is on. You see, assuming you merely glanced into the room, you couldn't have seen those bullet holes.
Yeah!
Lamiwar,
Yes,
I'm afraid the defense has raised a good point. It appears you have been holding back something.
and I must tell you. I must tell you what it is I saw.
They're roasting him so... Yeah, they're really mean to Apollo for no reason. But I feel like Clavier and Trucy... I said it last time, like, Clavier and Trucy have a bond that's super underrated. Their love language is picking on Apollo. Both of them.
Yes, the happenings in this trial are being recorded, and I'm certain it will be on the news in Virginia. You understand your reputation is at stake. It falls to you to avoid tarnishing it.
Personally speaking, I still believe that cross-examining her will yield us absolutely nothing.
But she knew how Mr. Latouche died, and he named her as a witness. You must have seen something, Lemuel.
Very well. Lemuel, please continue your testimony.
Yeah, the scarf symbol is a question mark when it's upside down, so that's, like, yeah, that's such a good design. Because it threw me off the first time because I was like, it doesn't look like the characters that, like, are in the Virginian scripts, like the Wingdings. But they did it for that, I think. Anyway.
Very well. I shall. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it. But it wasn't Machi. It was a grown person. I know it was.
Teasing him is fun. His reactions are so good.
So you did witness the crime. And the killer was a grown person, you say?
This is my first time hearing this, I assure you. Nice play, Herr Forehead.
I didn't do anything. Hey, I also do not know what's going on.
Very well, Herr. Mr. Justice, you may begin your cross-examination.
Great going, Apollo! You were right about Lamirar. What's wrong? You don't look too happy.
This whole thing smells fishy. That's what's wrong. It smells fishy, and we're not at a sushi restaurant. Actually, you're fishy. It shouldn't smell that fishy at a sushi restaurant either. So you were heading toward the dressing room?
Yes.
So this is a little before she opened the dressing room door and dropped her brooch. About the same time Emma and I heard those shots.
I was on my way back.
What exactly is something like a little window?
Yes, well, window is the best word I know in English. I think this is how it is said, yes.
You need not worry, Lamirar. Your choice of words is impeccable. There was a small window in the dressing room in question. Perhaps the defense remembers this detail?
That little window on the wall.
I, saw the crime from there.
You are certain you heard 2 shots fired?
Yes, quite certain. I was on my way to the backstage exit. This was when I heard a faint sound, like a gunshot. Wondering what it had been, I peered through the window. That is when I heard the second gunshot, much closer.
And there were 2 bullet holes at the scene. No contradictions so far.
It all happened on the other side of that window. There was nothing I could do.
It wasn't Machi who shot. Are you sure?
Yes, quite certain.
It amuses me that you would question her testimony. It is testimony in your favor. Isn't it my job to object? Yeah, Apollo, what were you thinking?
Trucy, let's just listen to what Lamirar has to say. Can you tell me how you were so sure?
Yes, of course. You see...
A grown person. That's a little vague.
I'm sorry. My skill with your language is lacking, I know.
Certainly, you could at least see whether the shooter was male or female.
It was a man. A young man.
And you're sure of that?
Yes, his voice was quite clear.
Voice?
Looking at this diagram, it seems the dressing room was quite cluttered. It does seem likely that you wouldn't have had a clear view of the shooter.
As a singer, I rely more on my ears than my eyes. When I hear a voice, I do not forget it. That voice was the voice of a man.
So you heard a voice. But wait. Couldn't that have been the victim, Mr. Latouche?
Absolutely not. Did I not just say that I do not forget a voice? If it were Mr. Latouche who had spoken, whatever, I misread this, I would have known.
Indeed. So you were at the window and you heard the shooter's voice, the voice of a young man.
Apollo, this is a good testimony. That proves it wasn't Machi.
Indeed. If this turns out to be true, it would cast this case in a considerably different light. What is the defense's opinion of this testimony?
Give me history. But I guess, like, the thing is, it comes down to the escape route, right? Because, like, the whole reason that Emma had determined that it had to be Machi was because the door was blocked by us and Emma standing there. And the little window is too small for a person to get through. So that's why. Let's do it. Though it pains me to say this, there's something about La Miroir's testimony that rings false. Bravo, Herr Forehead. You're colder than I thought. I'm sure you remember what the problem is as well as I do, Gavin. As has been established, no grown man could pass through that air vent. He couldn't have fled the scene of the crime. But that means La Miroir has to be lying! I know, and I know it's bad for our case, but I can't shut my eyes to this. Believe me, the idea was tempting. Sometimes I slip into Michelle's voice when I'm doing Apollo, like his inner thoughts. And boy, does that make me feel away. If you know, you know, gang. I found out the Maritime Museum in my city has this, like, weather-beaten old piano that you can play. I really want to play a Fata Mortu song on it. Anyway, it is as Herr Forehead says. Yet, this is not the only contradiction within her testimony. What next? What's he talking about? La Miroir, I understand why you would want to protect Machi. Yet remember, you are the siren of the ballad. And lies do not become such a creature. That's literally what we said! He's stealing our lines! I love. They make me crazy.
What does the prosecution mean?
Apollo, what's he talking about? How come no one bats an eye when he says stuff like that? Michelle, my beloved, dude, don't even get me started. I recall the state of the crime scene quite well. The state of the room? There's probably something in front of it, right? Yes, and when the murder took place, that window was closed. I find it hard to believe you could hear a voice through it. What? But I'm sure. La Miroir, I have nothing but the highest regard for your musical sense. But my opinion of you as a witness is somewhat lesser. Woof. But she's the only eyewitness we have. So you say. And the victim named her, the siren, as the witness? That's right. That's what Mr. Latouche... We heard your claim. We even entertained the possibility, and it brought us to this. Herr Judge!
Yes.
The prosecution requests that the witness be excused. Please.
I'm afraid I must honor the prosecution's request. There is indeed a question of the witness's credibility.
But if La Miroir can't testify, then we don't have a chance of proving Machi's innocence.
This cross-examination is over. Prosecutor Gavin, you may continue making your case.
Danke. Now, where were we?
Ah, yes, I would like to hear from Fraulein Detective again.
Wait, let me hear Lemuar's testimony one last time.
But the cross-examination is already over, until such a time as a need arises. This witness may leave the stand.
I'm sorry I could not be of more assistance.
Clavier, I really want inside your mind. What do you know? What do you think?
At last, back to the real trial. Ready, half forehead?
I hope I didn't just miss my only chance.
Fraulein Detective, how far had we gotten until we were so rudely interrupted? Don't ask me. I dislike saying the same thing twice, and I never repeat a song for an encore.
If you would, Ms. Sky.
I believe I was saying that the only way Mr. Latusse's killer could have escaped was through that air vent on the ceiling.
Ah, yes, there was only one door in the room. And a witness, you, was standing in front of it.
That air vent isn't very big, see? Kind of limits the people who could possibly get through.
I certainly would have a difficult time.
You sure would. Not that you would have been there in the first place, though. Remember, the whole backstage area was off limits to people not involved with the concert. The only one who meets the conditions for our killer is the defendant. A virtuoso performance. I couldn't have put it better myself.
She does state a clear case. Though reading the report, something caught my eye.
Oh, what's that?
The circumstances of the defendant's arrest.
The circumstances? Again?
Hey, that's right, Apollo! Remember when we found Machi? That was bizarre! Danganronpa. Yeah, this fucking Danganronpa ass.
She's right. Why did Mr. Latusse's body disappear from the room? And end up on top of that stage tower? Holding a guitar, no less.
A perceptive observation, Herr Judge.
Oh, thanks. It was kind of an accident, really. But you work in this job long enough, you get a nose for things.
The judge sure seems pleased with himself. Very good, Fraulein Detective. Perhaps you can tie it all together for us. Why was the body moved? And how does that lead us to the killer? I believe Machi stole the body because of some lyrics. He moved the body to match Lemuar's song. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim. And Machi practically left his signature at the scene. Sorry, I dropped something. All of this evidence clearly points to the defendant. Knocking shit over.
Lemuar's song?
Yes, the guitar serenade. You noticed its code, too, did you not?
It's code?
All the events that day followed the lyrics to our song. First, the keys my heart held on to so tightly were stolen.
Then Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames on stage. Mr. Latusse's life was taken by a bullet.
The rest hardly needs explanation. Guitar, guitar, up together to the sky.
That's mad. It's like a story out of some fairy tale.
You know who oh my god, I just had a moment, sorry. Do you know, I would love to see Apollo, Trucy, and Clavier in the the Somnium Files universe. No spoilers, because I'm gonna be streaming that game soon, but like, they would be so fun. They have like such silly personalities that are perfect for that universe. Anyway, I admit, I'd forgotten about the song. That's okay, I hadn't. But there it is now, waiting for me. The grand finale, as it were.
Hey, you know, I was the one who first noticed that.
I've heard of jumping rope to songs and counting to songs, but killing?
It's a wild world out there, Herr Judge.
Very well. We've heard one song and dance, let's get on to the next. The cross-examination.
I'm not so sure I'm going to be doing much singing. What a fleeting melody. Who would steal a body just to match some lyrics?
I didn't believe it myself, but it can't just be a coincidence.
It is as the Fraulein detective says. Let us begin with the first verse, if you would, Fraulein detective.
What? You want me to sing it?
You are the witness, yeah? Or did you want me to sing? I warned you, my fee as a vocalist is not trivial.
Fine. Let's look at the first part of the lyrics, shall we?
When you stole away my keys, my heart held on to so tight. Sorry, Emma, I don't think you can sing that well. Indeed, my favorite heart-shaped keyring was stolen that morning.
Next, we go to the right page of the lyrics sheet, where we find
burning on in my heart, fire, burn my love away, all away.
Orange! As we know, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame.
Like a bullet of love, fire, take my life away, all away.
Mr. Latusse's life was taken by a bullet.
Bravo, Fraulein Detective. Your singing, it's not bad. Now for the finale. Wait, I'll wait for the song to actually get to that part, so that has the nice instrumental in the background. Guitar, guitar, up together to the sky. As it says in the lyrics, Mr. Latousse was found with a guitar high in the sky over the stage. Beautiful. No series of coincidences could be so well conceived.
He's right, scientifically speaking.
What would Walkie have said? That concert was whack. God, Apollo, you're so... I love you.
It's hard to argue when she pours her heart into it like that. Anyway, the shooter...
I love this case. People hate this case, guys. Does the prosecution have any idea why he'd do all this?
You want my scientific opinion? No clue. But he clearly had a reason to go through all that trouble. Some deep reason.
A deep reason. Not only did he steal my keys, he torched my guitar. Unforgivable acts, even if he had a reason. And worse if he had none.
The Diva's complaints aside, I can't imagine someone just doing this on a whim.
Fraulein Detective, I take offense at that description.
Indeed, water. Indeed, it does seem too well rehearsed, shall we say.
Yes, this crime was planned for sure.
We sure? But Mr. Latousse spoke English. He may have come to this country before.
I looked into that, I assure you.
Oh.
It was his first time in the country, it seems. Apparently, he learned English on his own.
Great.
You see.
No one here had a motive to kill him, and certainly not in such an elaborate fashion.
It does seem difficult to imagine.
Unless our famous prosecutor did it as a publicity stunt.
Oh, what did you say?
Prosecutor Gavin, you did this to promote your song!
He's like, what the fuck? I'm literally just here.
Of course not. And I am dismayed by the ludicrous nature of her claim.
Why would I need promotion? Everyone already listens to my music. He makes me sick. He makes me sick. I'm gonna throw up. They're even in my textbook at school. And I'd never heard of them. What does that say about me? That's okay, Apollo. You have an excuse.
I was just kidding. Don't get all worked up, Glimmer Boy.
I love their hatred for each... Well, no, her hatred for him, I guess. They're like worsties. Everyone who wanted like Francisca and Phoenix's like working together, that we got that with Emma and Clavier, I feel. What do you mean by his signature?
The bullet holes in the wall, of course.
The bullet holes? He's like 5 foot. How could he have done that?
The revolver was fired twice. One shot missed and left a hole in the wall.
And that means what exactly?
That dressing room isn't exactly spacious. Picture the shooter facing off with the victim in there. They can't have been more than 5 feet apart. It would be difficult, almost impossible to miss at that range.
Difficult to miss, you say?
Very. Assuming the shooter could properly aim.
No, you can't be serious.
Machi! He can't see! That's why he missed?
That's the only explanation that makes sense. He used sound and other senses to fire the gun. Poorly.
That reminds me, the monitor in that room was blaring at the time, yeah? Hardly ideal conditions for tracking by sound.
A blind shooter. No wonder he missed. I guess he never missed.
I knew those bullet holes would come back to haunt me. Think, Justice, what do I do now? I'm gonna raise an objection because he's too small. Sure, there were bullet holes left in the wall. But that doesn't prove the shooter couldn't see.
Oh, how so?
Well, there could have been a struggle with the victim.
That's certainly possible.
And it might have been the revolver's fault.
The revolver?
The revolver was a very large caliber, correct?
If the shooter wasn't used to firing such a large weapon, why, it could dislocate their shoulder.
Exactly. The defendant, Machi Tobaye, is, as you can see, tiny. I love Apollo, my short king, saying that. Though I have to say, Apollo and I are the same height. And it's so interesting because, like, for a guy, he's considered short, but, like, for me, a lot of my friends are really, like, a lot shorter than me, with the exception of, like, a couple. It's so interesting. It's not so hard to picture him firing the gun and missing entirely. The kickback alone would throw off his aim.
A convincing argument, to be sure.
Take that, smug prosecution. I loved his smile there. What the fuck? That was cute.
Apollo!
Huh? What?
That bit about Machi being tiny? And the gun throwing off his aim? Aren't you kind of, admitting that he did it?
Oh.
It does not matter why he missed. What matters is that the shooter was, without a doubt, the defendant. Even the defense seems to agree on that point.
Ugh. Crips. I really put my foot in it this time.
But let's get the facts on the matter on. Oh, I couldn't say that line. Can we try that again? Let's get the facts of the matter on the record, if you would, Fraulein Detective.
Very well, the witness will add this to her testimony.
Right.
Hold on. You can't say he was blind just because of those bullet holes in the wall. I think I've proven that.
I wouldn't call it proof, per se.
Huh?
You've merely raised a possibility. Fraulein Detective has made a most logical conjecture based upon the evidence. Of course, there is more evidence than just bullet holes. The defendant was the only one who could have escaped through the air vents.
But wait, if he was blind, how would he know about the air vent in the first place?
Ah, a very good point. Well, Fraulein Detective, if you would care to explain.
He certainly seems sure of himself.
Recall the crime scene, if you would. There was a stepladder below the air vent. As it happens, maintenance was scheduled for that day. Custodial staff went around checking all the air vents. Convenient.
I don't believe it.
Everyone backstage was told about the maintenance, including Machi Tobaye. He would have known that there would be a way out at the top of that the step ladder, whatever. I couldn't say that word, like steep ladder.
But that's... Why is this the first time I'm hearing about this?
You could have figured it out for yourself. You only needed to consider what that stepladder was doing there.
Looks like the defense's objection has been squished by a stepladder.
Well, Herr Forehead. Out of ammunition, perhaps?
I've never seen Prosecutor Gavin so aggressive. Usually he is submissive. No, someone did all those videos of like, is so-and-so from Ace Attorney a bottom? And the Clavier one is really funny. Like, it's so good. It's like 8 or 9 minutes long. It's really funny. I watch it on bad days because it's funny. It just makes me laugh. Maybe he's caught the scent of blood.
Apollo, don't you have something? Anything? You know what we need. We need something to prove the killer could see. That'll put him in his place.
He's like, I'm ready to be put in my place. Proving the shooter was sighted would do it. That would take down one of their central points. Do I have any evidence that can prove that, though?
Hold on.
I still think that this is kind of bullshit because he can't read it and he supposedly can't understand English, and so it's like I don't know. But I don't think that's what they want right now. I think that's just me. Is this... Did he wipe that? Or did someone try to wipe that? Because if someone tried to wipe that, that means that the like the person who killed was trying to write the blood away. Is there anything else? No. 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 Oh, I forgot I can do all the dialogue for this shit. My bad. A sort of pin fastener for attaching things to clothes. Not a safety pin type, though.
So if it's not a safety pin, is it a danger pin?
I suppose if you stuck it in your eye, then yeah, sure. But you could do that with a safety pin, too, for that matter.
Thanks for taking the fun out of my danger pin.
Aw, you're driving a danger pin through my heart here. They're the best. Okay. Nothing there. The middle of the weapon is a revolving chamber. That's where you load the bullets. A revolver, see?
Revolver. That sounds a bit like Wonder Bar. Especially if you say it really fast.
I guess.
You know what I always used to think? I used to think the closest sound to Wonder Bar was one lever. There's just so many words in the world, Apollo. Isn't it amazing?
So many different words, so many different people. People like Drucy.
Hiya! Bang.
Yikes! Don't point that thing at me!
Don't worry, I'm an old hand with firearms. I have one that shoots bullets.
I don't want it shooting any bullets, thank you.
Not those bullets, silly. My gun shoots bullets. The magic cat.
A cat comes out of a gun?
I can tell by your expression you've never heard of that trick. It's a great one.
Honestly, that one sounds halfway interesting. He loves kitties. Give him a cat. They do in the drama CD. Oh wait, okay, no, that's the thing. Oh my god, we can observe this? Heyo. Hey. Girl. Sorry. Girl. Can we... No, go back. Hold on. Zoom in. Girl. Okay. No clues here. Oh, wait, what? There we go. There are 3 keys on this heart-shaped keyring. And this guitar-shaped key was the key to a guitar case.
Wasn't he saying he had to break his case because he couldn't get it unlocked? I could open a lock like that in 10 seconds, easy. He should have given me a call.
So he could slap handcuffs on you after you opened it?
Handcuffs? 20 seconds, tops.
I'm glad she's on my side. Oh, okay, there is a little Gaviner's logo there. That's cute. Girl is hilarious. Why does it say that? Why do his keys say girl? Hey, girl. Wait. Okay, right. And then this. And then, okay. Let's try. Certified girl moment. Fine. I accept the prosecution's challenge. As I knew you would, Herr Forehead. What exactly am I up against here? The prosecution is saying the shooter missed because they couldn't see. Therefore, Machi, who's blind, did it.
The defense will please present their evidence. Evidence that overturns the prosecution's claim that the shooter couldn't see.
Okay, Phew. This is that evidence.
A photograph of the crime scene.
I don't care much for the smirk on Prosecutor Gavin's face. But this is no time to think twice. Time to press on. Yes, Your Honor, the crime scene. There's something in here that decisively contradicts the prosecution's point.
And perhaps you'd best show us this something. Get your finger out of the breeze and put it to good.
That's a line I forgot about. Speaking of certified girl moment.
Get your finger out of the breeze and put it to good use, yeah?
Very well. Show us what you're talking about, Mr. Justice. The contradiction at the scene of the crime is...
This got wiped.
The contradiction is right here.
The smeared bloodstains.
I thought it was just my blurry vision.
Real.
But it really was blurry. The way the victim's hand is raised above his head. Much like a gesture I have seen many times in this court.
Is your finger where? Javier's like, don't make me say it out loud. Tracy does the gesture to Apollo, like, with a raised eyebrow, and he's like, oh my god!
It's almost as if he wrote something. Aha! I get it! At least I think I get it. Get what, Fraulein? When Mr. Latouche was shot, he tried to write something. And what would he write but the shooter's name? And what would he write it in but his own blood? Pretty good, huh?
Thanks for making my point for me. Yes, in fact, that's what I think happened here.
That does seem to be a distinct possibility.
The victim wrote the killer's name. It's certainly a logical conclusion. Drat! I just wish it wasn't all rubbed out like that.
Of course it's rubbed out. Why, if I were a killer, I certainly wouldn't want to leave my own name behind.
Neither would I.
No one has anything else to say?
About what?
So the prosecution accepts this. You agree that this was the victim making an attempt to record the name of the killer. And that the killer tried to rub the name out.
What's your point?
What's my point? Let me ask you this. How did the killer know the victim was writing their name?
Well, Mr. Latouche was writing something in blood once the killer saw what it was. Oh, wait.
Once he saw what it was.
But what did you just testify about the shooter?
I said they were blind.
Yet the crime scene itself contradicts that. The killer had to have been able to see. Why would they rub out the name in blood otherwise? May I remind the court that the defendant Machi Tobaye is blind. He couldn't have been the shooter.
Ugh. Impossible!
Order! 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 Prosecutor Gavin, please explain to me what all this means. I mean, looking at this photo, it seems quite clear that the shooter could see. Yet, up until now...
It seems I owe the court an apology. The Gaviners are a band with law enforcement ties, yet a murder occurred during our concert. Apparently, this caused some confusion over jurisdiction. As a result, some reports were not filed in an entirely timely manner. I'm not sure I like the vibe I'm getting. He is not passing the vibe check.
Hey, Apollo, look at him! Why is Prosecutor Gavin all relaxed and smiling like that? Like he knows something we don't, and he's about to tell us.
I've got an idea. Let's rock. With these documents. Why is he the funniest man alive? I do feel that moment, Apollo would feel something. He'd be like, that was charming. Okay, okay. Alright. Alright. That was charming. It was cute. I said it. Let's move on. God. With these documents. But before that, I have a question for the Fraulein detective, if I may.
What?
Tell me, why do you think that Machi Tobaye is blind?
Huh?
What did he say?
What are you saying? Of course he's blind.
Of course.
He's the blind pianist, right? So he's... Doesn't Lemingwar lead him around by the hand all the time?
No way. I have a report here on the defendant, Machi Tobaye. According to this, Machi Tobaye can see perfectly well.
What?
His blindness was merely a publicity ploy by those clever Virginians. He can see quite well. But you said... What did I say exactly? Herr Forehead, not once in the course of this trial have I claimed the defendant was blind. The only one who did was Fraulein Detective. But that's a significant fact, yes. Consider, Machi Tobaye sees. And he was the only one who could have fled through that air vent. I see no problems with this.
But what about the bullet holes in the wall?
Yes, the bullet holes. I believe Herr Forehead neatly explained those for us. He didn't miss because he couldn't see. It was the kickback from the .45 caliber revolver. A simple accident, in other words. Ugh. How's that? I'm afraid your objection has just flown off for brighter skies. Ugh. This is where the real fun begins, Herr Forehead. Yeah! Oh, Apollo and your ugly faces. I love you so much. I knew you didn't have what it took.
You jerk! Just what was I in here for? Comic relief? Yeah, apologize!
Oh, sorry.
That's no way to apologize!
He's angered the Trucy now. Look out.
We were doing a bit together and you betrayed me!
If you can please end the bickering, now.
Whatever, I'm not leaving. I can't leave like this. I'll come up with some clue to solving this case if it kills me.
But your testimony has already given us enough to convict the defendant.
Ugh, don't say that. Aha, what?
This bloodstain? The criminal tried to wipe it off, right?
That seems to be what happened, yes.
We might be able to find out what was really written here.
Really? You can do that?
That's right, with this. It's called luminol. Maybe you know of it? It's a chemical that reacts to blood.
Yes. Have we done those tests yet?
As if I'm going to tell you.
The bloodstains covered a section of the carpet. In order to perform blood tests, that section was removed and submitted. Perhaps we should request it in here in court now.
Right. Go for it, Apollo.
Huh? I have to do the test?
You just have to spray the luminol on it. Simple.
A chemical that reacts to blood. I've heard of this somewhere.
Yes, I believe an analysis is called for. Have at it.
Right. Ready? It's easy as pie. Just press A to spray an area. Here, give it a try.
The eyes of the entire court are focused on me.
Apollo, your hand's shaking!
Ugh. Let's do this. What the fuck is that? Oh, it's a number. Wow, it really works.
This must be the power of science! It says IPXX 314206. Is that the killer's name?
Maybe it is. If the killer was a robot.
Aha, I have it. So what is it? I thought those letters IPXX looked familiar. This is an Interpol ID number.
Interpol? You mean the International Police Agency?
Yes, most are undercover agents working to solve international crimes. But why would he write that number? Why would Mr. Latouche even know a number like that? Good show, Fraulein Detective. Rock on.
Ah?
Your Honor, we can verify this number immediately. Darian, are you there? Come up to the witness stand. Darian, you heard what we need. Go check into this Interpol ID number. Sure thing. Give me 30 minutes. No, give me 27.
I'm not sure what to think of all this. The prosecution's case is airtight, or so it seems. Yet if this number really is a part of that of an Interpol agent.
Oh, wait, I know. What if Machi Tobaye is really an undercover Interpol agent? He's 15.
That would be a possibility.
A possibility, yes. And one that would mark him as the killer for certain.
Why did Latouche know an Interpol ID number? That's what I want to know. Well, we have some time while we await Darian's report. Let's work on unraveling another mystery, shall we? A curious mystery concerning Machi Tobaye. What are you talking about? Fraulein Detective, please accept my apologies. I received word that the defendant could, in fact, see just before the trial began. It seemed too much of a bother to tell you.
You had me until that last bit.
Does this not raise a rather straightforward question?
Well, sure. Why did Machi pretend he couldn't see?
Exactly. It makes little sense. What do you think, Herr Forehead? Huh? Me? Machi Tobaye pretended he was blind. Do you know why? How could he know?
Wait, Prosecutor Gavin knows why, doesn't he?
He's known from the start of the trial. He's been leading us on the whole time. Something wrong? Do you think perhaps this is all just some kind of game? Know that the moment I heard that report, I knew why.
I suppose people who have sold over 1 million records really are something else.
What does that have to do with anything? There was a reason why Machi Tobaye pretended to be blind. But it wasn't for his own sake. Getting the picture now. It wasn't for himself?
Well, Mr. Justice, can you present evidence that shows us why the defendant had to feign blindness?
I can. Machi had no reason to pretend he couldn't see. Which means... no, it couldn't be! Good show, Herr Forehead. It seems you've thought of something. Why can't I figure these things out on my own? I hate having to take my cues from this guy. Very well. Look at this. This is why he was pretending he couldn't see. This has been hard to keep while, like, doing this, because I'm like, we don't know that yet, but I think about it often. And it's, like, even relevant to a fic I'm writing now.
That is La Miroir.
La Miroir and Machi Tobaye. Recall their relationship. In particular, their unique arrangement over the years before visiting our country.
La Miroir and her pianist. They would always walk together, she leading him by the hand. Even when they got on stage, she would lead him to the piano. She would walk all the way over there with him.
That's right, because he was blind. She led him at all times, never letting him go.
All times.
Yet we have just learned something that makes their arrangement peculiar indeed. Machi could see. Why did they have to keep up this act the whole time?
Well, wasn't it part of their performance?
I think there's a simpler explanation. Machi did not need to be led by the hand at all. That can only mean one thing.
Oh, really?
Really, it was all the other way around. The one who needed to be led by the hand was La Miroir.
What's this? So you mean to say that La Miroir is... she's...
Yes, Your Honor. La Miroir is blind.
What?
Order! Order! No, my voice. Order! This is crazy, Prosecutor Gavin. Why the fuck didn't we know?
Is it now?
Please shed some sanity on this madness. The defense has made an outrageous claim.
The only thing outrageous I see about the defense is his vast forehead. Yet I see it is not vast in vain. This time. He's quite correct.
But that makes no sense.
Yeah, wasn't she supposed to be the landscape painter in sound or something? Well, since we have her here, why not ask La Miroir herself? I believe she is still in the witness waiting room.
Apollo, what does this mean for our case? Don't ask me. I had no idea she couldn't see. I hadn't even imagined it until now.
Bailiff, bring in La Miroir.
La Miroir, it pains me deeply to call you before us again in this way, and yet I must.
Please, do not be concerned on my behalf.
Those eyes. She really can't see? Really?
It is true. How funny it is that a tiny lie, born in the Borginian countryside, would one day grow to entangle the entire world.
So you are...
Yes, as I mentioned before, I have no memory of the time before I became La Miroir. Know, too, that my memories begin in darkness. The word light has no meaning for La Miroir.
I see.
You may recall me saying something toward the beginning of this trial, Herr Forehead.
What's that?
I believe I said it was unfortunate this crime had no direct witnesses.
Ah.
Now, La Miroir, I must ask you to stand once more. Will you testify to the court about your eyes?
Of course. It was never my intent to deceive any of you. May I begin, Your Honor?
Yes, of course. Though I admit I'm a little lost here.
I think we're all a bit lost here, Your Honor.
I have no memory of the light. I debuted in a world of darkness and sound. My producer came up with my PR line before he knew this. So, silly as it may sound, I had to pretend I could see. Everyone on my staff knew, of course, but no others.
But this is a murder trial.
I apologize. It was part of my contract, you see.
She's on the NDA, brother. I wonder, like, how you do that. If you're on an NDA, but you're also, not prosecuting. You're also acting as a witness in a trial. I assume that would overwrite an NDA, right? I don't know.
I was to keep my blindness a secret, no matter what. Music is everything for me. I never imagined something like this would...
She told us the truth in the beginning, when she said she saw nothing.
Very well. Does the defense have anything to add?
I'd like to cross-examine.
But what is there left to ask?
There was one thing in her testimony that bothered me.
Perhaps it is best we let you get it out of your system. Someday you'll come to understand the importance of thinking for yourself.
Very well. The defense may proceed. However, be aware this court will not tolerate any questions deemed too stressful to the witness.
I hate this shit.
Also, Clavier's comment there makes me think.
Okay, there was only one part that bothered me. Just let me ask about that and I'll be happy. When you say your staff, do you include Mr. Latouche?
Of course. He was my manager.
So he knew, and that's what's been bugging me.
Something the matter, Mr. Justice?
I believe I know what is bothering our young defense attorney. You were thinking of when you discovered the body, yes?
Is he right, Apollo? Yes, I was. Again! He's alive. Mr. Latouche. Blip, bip, 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 bip. Oh my god.
Can't see. It was not in reference to himself. It was in reference to the witness.
Mr. Latouche told me to ask the witness, and he named you. Why would he do that? He knew you were blind.
I don't know.
What did I just say? You need to learn to think for yourself.
Meaning what?
There is no mystery here if you recall everything he said. Think of his last words once more. No, don't show the... Oh, thank you.
The witness, Siren. We've heard them many times, along with a little play acting by our defense.
No way they're acting it out. It's so funny.
I remember them well myself, but that statement is not to what I refer. I mean what he said before that.
Before? What came before that?
That's right. He tried to tell you. When he said can't see, he wasn't talking about himself. He was talking about the witness.
I see.
Too bad the defense did not. Well, have foreheads. Try relaxing and looking at the facts first next time.
Order! Order!
Recall Lemuroir's earlier testimony.
I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There were 2 shots. I couldn't do anything to stop it.
But she couldn't have heard those gunshots. I thought we proved that.
That is not the most important point here. The moment he was shot, Mr. Latouche witnessed her through that window. Why else would he have named her as the witness?
But I really did hear them. 2 gunshots. And the man's voice.
Unfortunately, such a thing was impossible. The window was closed. We have already run a simulation, of course.
But it was so clear. If I heard that voice again, I would know it in an instant.
Your Honor,
What is it, bailiff? Can't you see we're in the session here?
we have the results back from the investigation.
The investigation.
Ah, the Interpol number that Mr. Latouche left us.
Oh, well, let's hear it. We will continue this cross-examination afterward. Detective Crescent,
I learned it was crescent, like crescendo. Doi.
your report, please.
I asked Interpol about that number. I'm sure you'll find their answer intriguing. Quick work as always, Darian.
Well, tell us about the number. Is the defendant a secret agent?
IPXX 314206. The agent registered under this number was Romain Latouche. What? Our undercover Interpol agent was Mr. Latouche himself. He was apparently in the middle of an operation.
So when
he wrote those letters, he was trying to tell us his own identity. And a cautious killer tried to wipe them away.
Mr. Latouche was an undercover Interpol agent. So him being Lemuar's manager
was just a cover, most likely. There's one other important detail I found. Well, out with it. It concerns that 45 caliber revolver, the murder weapon. Apparently it belonged to Romain Latouche. He had an Interpol permit to carry firearms. And the registration number on the revolver matched. So the victim was killed with his own weapon, which makes sense. It's hard to imagine someone who wasn't an Interpol agent with such a large revolver. So the victim was an Interpol agent on an undercover op. I wonder how that ties into everything.
It's got to tie in somehow, you'd think.
Yeah, somehow.
Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Gresham. It's a great help.
Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out.
Hold it! Wait!
Lemuar, is something the matter?
That voice just now.
Darian?
Mr. Darian, is it? It was him. I am sure of it.
It was him.
You aren't saying.
That voice I heard, talking to Mr. Latouche, when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him. It was Mr. Darian.
Is this some kind of a joke? What? No way. The courtroom fell into such a chaotic state, the trial had to be suspended temporarily. I'd never seen that happen before. Of course, it's not every day that you get an accusation like that one. Lemuar fingering Darian Crescent. Not only is he a guitarist, he's a detective. Could it really have been his voice Lemuar heard? Things were changing fast, and frankly, I wasn't sure I could keep up with it.
Hey, no wimping out, Apollo!
But we're gonna wimp out for now. Oh. Clavier was so confident that whole time. And then when that happens... Oh dear. Uh-oh. Hey Clavier, have you ever considered everyone around you is also putting on a mask of some sort because you are too, and it's impossible for you to have genuine relationships? Have you ever considered... Anyway. Saturday will be Okami. And then Sunday should be more of this. I think we move on to the investigation portion. Yeah. Should be interesting. And yeah, the schedule should pretty much just continue as per the usual. I think next year I'm gonna move it to like only twice a week streaming, but we'll see, because I'm also like looking for a full-time job at this point, and that would change my schedule altogether anyway. So we'll see. Changes. Anyway, you know the drill. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. Be good to yourself. Be kind. Stay safe. Stay hydrated. Please wear a mask. We really don't want another pandemic with the H5N1. And there's a lot we don't know about it yet. We don't want that. And there's also COVID is still lingering. So please, that is a great way to contribute to your community. Thanks for hanging out. And I will see y'all when I see you. Bye.
One day I won't say it like that. One day I won't be like, bye! But it kind of just rolls off the tongue, you know what I mean? Anyway, bye.